Nvidia stock opened up today at $110, and there's a lot of theories that this is going to drop down towards 100 and possibly even lower. But I'm going to tell you, despite the downside that most likely, and I believe this probably drops closer to $100, it's probably the best buy in the stock market. I'm going to explain exactly why and what's happening in the short term that's dictating the downside and the overall risk off environment that we're seeing. Now, when we look at Nvidia, again, we know this is the top stock. We talk about it all the time. They bring in more numbers. Their margins are incredible, and they're continuing to grow and grow. Their forward PE ratio is absolutely amazing. Their regular PE ratio is there at 39 right now. Again, once it gets below 30, you go to the realization of like, how am I getting this? But again, Nvidia, the name of names when it comes to equities. Now, what I will say, the good right now, even Morgan Stanley, you have all these hedge funds, these analysis coming out saying, look, it's a buy. Like it is a buy no matter what's happening. Now, what we'll say right now is short term, you're seeing downside in the market. And why is Nvidia dropping? Now, again, we're going to go into tariffs and things that are happening on that side of it, but it's important to understand a few things when you look at the market as a whole. Number one, if the entire S&P 500, the entire NASDAQ is dropping, most names are going to follow suit. Now, Nvidia is in the middle of this trade war, and I think people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to mention semiconductors, and it's one of the few things that we haven't heard Donald Trump admit or talk heavy about. So whereas it is a long-term buy, the difference between short and long-term is buying options even within 6 months. You're taking a very big risk. Now, if I'm buying just stock, buying it at 115 is an absolute steal. There's a difference there. If I'm buying a stock, I'm okay with it dropping 30% because I'm probably just going to keep buying more because in my head, the long term, I see this thing going up double and just really running this entire market as far as AI, semiconductors, cloud, and data centers are concerned, and then even the future of EV as well. So important to understand that. Now, today, why are we dropping? Now, if you remember, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the tariffs on Mexico and Canada went into effect. The Chinese tariffs are already into effect as well, which those also were bumped up to 20% from the 10% original viewpoint there. Now, what's happening from this and what's the bad side of this? Now, it came up from Canada that they said, okay, you tariffed us, now we're tariffing you. And again, I'm not here to say Canada, you're bad, America, you're bad. It doesn't. We're just reacting to what's happening out there. Now, you have to understand, when we tariff on Canada, they tariff back on us, and it's primarily going to affect our energy, electricity, and oil. It's very important to understand that. And that's not going to affect us immediately, but it's going to affect us over the long run. Overall cost and margins of things made in America will increase, most likely. Now, then you have Mexico. We'll see what they do. And then China announcing reciprocal tariffs back at us. Again, important to understand, farm exports and add on trade limits. Again, China already made their comment. They are not happy with America doing this. So you can go read Twitter. We have it all there as well. I'll post more about that also. But that's very important to understand of what's happening under and behind the scenes here, okay? Is that China is starting to ramp up. Now, Trump also announced today, I'm going a lot, I'm going fast. But again, Trump announced today as well that they tariff us, we will raise our tariffs on them. We will raise to whatever their reciprocal tariffs on us. So if you want to pain on us, we'll cause pain on you. That's what's happening right now. So going into Nvidia stock, my opinion, my viewpoint, you go to the higher time frames like the daily. I mean, this thing is getting beat up, lower highs and lower lows. And again, you can see clearly what's developing here. Lower low, and now a lower low developing. So even though you're seeing a bounce, yeah, you're gonna get some bounces. It's gonna happen. But you're holding below your 200 daily moving average for the first real time since 2023. And what happens when we get below these massive levels? The last time we got below and held below your 200 daily moving average, Nvidia ended up dropping from this again, it was like $240 before the split, and you dropped all the way down to 11. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna have a 50% drop, because if we do, Jesus, please give us the opportunity. That'd be awesome. It'd be a mortgage the house type of situation. But again, we still have to expect some downside there on Nvidia. And I'm targeting around $100 to $97, right? You have your short-term support, 108 to 106, but I think you're going to come down even deeper, and we'll talk more about that. But before I go into anything else, I do want to say right now, guys, if you are interested in what we are doing, if you like the content, you want to see what we're doing all day throughout the day, all the trades we're doing, things along those lines, Discord may be for you. Like today, we ended up going short literally at the highs here for Nvidia. As you can see here, this is literally just posted like 10-20 minutes ago. Nvidia, again, you're at highs right up there. We started going short right there at 116.4. That's where we went short. And again, that's just your Friday. But again, The point isn't just signals, it's to show you what we're doing, why we're doing it throughout the day, and hopefully get you prepared for every single session in the market. You can see wins, losses, everything like that. Again, we're totally transparent there as well. Again, the recent loss was Amazon, which we got short just a day early. It is what it is. But again, if you want to get viewpoints of what's happening with futures, getting into futures trading, things along those lines, every morning we have the rundowns for you as well. Another big trade we mentioned last night, or actually this morning, I'm sorry, you can see the time right here, 8:04, before market even opened. You go down to Dow. We were looking for the 200 daily moving average at 42,600, which we also mentioned on Twitter and every other social media outlet. But what happened here on Dow? You ended up dropping literally from market open. Market open 43,000, 43.1 down to 42.6, 42 and deeper, actually 42.4, almost 700, 800 points from market open. Again, now I'm not claiming to be the oracle. I just talk about what I'm doing. Again, just like these videos. So the link is down below if you're interested. So going into Nvidia, semiconductors as a whole, what's happening? I wouldn't be surprised to see potentially some more buying. Okay. You have to understand as we get these dips, like again, you've seen the bounce, but what I will say is you're still seeing all the things that are carrying us to the downside being magnified. And in the short term, it's hard to anticipate any type of bounce because when we look at what's happening with SPY, again, coming down to our 200 daily moving average, we talked about yesterday, down from 585 below your 100-day, you still have more room to come down. You haven't touched it quite yet, very close. But again, we'll see. Right, you're just getting a little bit of a dead cat was what it looks like from where you're at right here. You go down to QQQ, you bounce down to your 200, you're breaking there as well. If you start to flip these levels, selling will ensue. And again, I believe we're just at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what's happening with tariffs and the reactions from all these other countries that we're doing. We haven't even had a reaction from EU and what's going to be happening from them as well. Go down to AVGO, you came down to your 200 daily moving average. So again, where you're at, how you're reacting, and overall the market action right now. Do I think semiconductors are going to absolutely collapse? It's a massive bubble, things like that? No. I think when we look at the overall earnings, you can see the good companies are holding up. You go to the bad companies like AMD, again, they're just not doing, and when I say bad, I just mean they're not growing. They're not doing what Nvidia, AVGO, and the other names are doing, right? That's what you have to focus on. You're trying to hold support around 99, 100. We'll see if you can hold, but as of right now, not looking ideal. Intel, again, trash name. I could care less. It's sitting at like literally 2023 lows. Don't care about these names. So for people mentioning garbage names, I don't really have anything to say about them. But when you look at the good names, I will say these are the more interesting. You're still above 2021, 2020, 2023, 2022 highs. Again, these are going to be big opportunities on the board. So again, still looking for some potential downside in the short term, but I'm still happy with what we're seeing overall. Broad market. I think this is going to be a big opportunity. So when you see these analysts with these viewpoints of, is it a buying opportunity? I believe so. But I'm not going into it with the mentality of this is going to make me money next week or next month. I'm going into the mentality of we're probably going to get more downside, and I need to be setting myself up for that as well. Because again, remember back to Nvidia in August, right? July, August, and you came down to $98, $100. We all remember that. Again, this isn't to say Tyler was right, this or that. It's just to go behind the mindset of what I was doing there. I knew this was a value play. And since then, you become more valuable. You did earnings at $30 billion. You just did earnings at almost $39 billion, right? Their margins have gotten even better, which is hilarious to even think about. So it's important to have that visual of what you're looking at in the market. So yeah, while we're day trading, focusing on the downside in the short term, yes, long-term mentality, finding big because again, you have to understand, short-term, I'll make some money here and there, but when I make my big trades, the big amount of money, the big winners you see like in real life, not just social media, those are from the longer-term positions and really capitalizing on these types of dips. I don't think right now is the time for options on Nvidia, but I think shares adding in this entire way down is going to be a money play. I also think TSM with what they're doing, what they're building with here with the United States and manufacturing all these chips, I think they're probably my second favorite name when it comes to semiconductors as of this point, right? Adding on this dip because I think they're going to be over the next 2 to 3 years have massive, massive upside as well. So Nvidia, this is definitely a surprise for you guys. You probably haven't seen me mention in TSM that much. I think they're going to become a big buying opportunity. You're below your 200 daily moving average, so I still expect some downside in the short term. But again, what I'm looking at across the market, across the board. If you have questions, comment down below. Make sure you're following on Twitter for all the updates and everything, so you're getting those every single day. And you're seeing my charts, news that's breaking from Trump, the administration, everything like that, so you're not surprised as well. Have a good one, traders.